back here in the studio. I am sitting with a guest that I've been looking forward to sitting down with. Anne, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Great. And what are you here to talk about today?
I'm here to talk about a new book that has a very, very different perspective. It's Letters to Anne, the Korean War, 1950 to 51. It's a challenging book to explain, but it's basically a series of letters that are drawings and cartoons sent to a 4-year-old little girl from her dad while he served in the Korean War as a medical officer.
Wow, and why is this book, I mean, it's very personal to you.
It is.
And I think that's an important thing to mention. You are not Letters to Anne.
I am not the Anne of the book.
Right.
The Anne of the book was actually my sister-in-law, Anne Isabel. And my father-in-law was Captain John Hughes,
Wow.
who was
okay.
the letter writer.
So this is a book that's close to your heart. And I was flipping through it this morning before you came in, and I have to say, you know, it is a hard book to explain, but when you start flipping through it, you really get an emotional connection to this little girl and her dad.
I think that's very correct in how it comes across. It ended up evolving into a very sweet-toned book because the letters are funny, but they're written during a time which is not funny at all.
Right.
And we went back and we found out where Captain Hughes was and what point the war was at the various times he's writing Little Anne. And that gave us a historical context to view the letters in.
Right. I mean, and too, you have little captions too at the bottom of each of the cartoons, kind of setting up what's actually happening and what he's referring to, because obviously he can't tell his 4-year-old, his daughter, right?
His daughter, yes.
4-year-old daughter what's really happening, but he's trying to give her some type of an image so that they have that closeness while he's away.
And one of the best examples of that is he was in a convoy with a MASH unit and they were ambushed on a mountain pass, and he took actions going onto the battlefield, treating and evacuating soldiers. He was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for that. But the letter that he writes to Anne after that event occurred in 1950 has absolutely no mention of what had just occurred to him. And instead he says, guess what? I have a new pet pig.
Well, that's one way to talk about it.
Oh.
But so what sets this book apart, I guess? I mean, besides what we've already discussed, from other books? Like, what can readers expect when they're reading through this?
It is such a different perspective of the Korean War, which often is called the Forgotten War, because a lot of educators go straight from World War II to Vietnam. So it does give a reader a feeling of the war, what was really happening to him, and then how he still was able to say life goes on to his little girl back home.
See, and we were talking too before we came back from break, and you were saying that was Anne Elizabeth?
And Isabel.
Isabel, close, has since passed. So this is kind of your homage to them?
Yeah,
and
she
your brother?
passed in 2006, and Captain Hughes practiced medicine after the war, but he died of a massive heart attack while he was mowing his lawn. So both of the people in this book have passed, but hopefully it sort of brings them back to life again.
Yeah, I was going to say, they kind of live on through your stories and what you've written about them. So for folks out there that want to get this book, which I would definitely suggest, hopefully that we can leave a copy. I want to flip through it a little bit more, but I understand you want to definitely keep these close. Where can people find these books?
It can be found on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
So two great websites, just type in Letters to Anne, do a little search, and definitely want to pick this up. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for making the trek from Denver. You're a part-time resident here in Summit County too, which is great, in Dillon, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and we'll be back with more Summit Sunrise after this quick break.